Good evening everyone and welcome along to League of Europe. We are here for F1 2020 action, Season 5, Division 1, Round 15 of the Championship as we take in the Belgian Grand Prix from the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. My name is James. I'm going to be taking you through the stream as always, and joining me in the commentary box, fresh from his exam stress, it is Mr. Daniel Field. Dan, how are you doing?
Doing brilliant tonight, as always. Really looking forward for the Belgian Grand Prix. Big controversy coming into this one, though, because championship leader Montana has been handed a race ban after some infractions earlier on in this week. One of his team members in NSX, Yorno, was having someone else race on his account, and Montana knew about this, but he didn't notify any of the admins. So Yorno has been permanently blacklisted from League of Europe, and because of his secrecy, Montana is not allowed to participate tonight.
And I believe that driver who was racing on Yono's account was actually NSX Yelt, who was also a part of Division 1 this season. So that just throws a spanner into the works in terms of the championship here tonight. And also, Connor got a race ban last week for crashing. Essentially, he said in the Discord that he crashed, he Leclerc into the wall at turn 11 through Parabolica. But Stewards didn't see it that way. He didn't have any proof of footage. And he gets a race ban for failing to prove, basically, he didn't crash it out on purpose. Which I think, to take a little bit of a risk, is, to say, the extreme, I would say, to be honest. But hopefully, with that being in mind, Connor and Montana will return next week, and hopefully will have learnt their lessons out on track. And that's the first time I've said that tonight. If you haven't read The Killer Instincts, yeah, there we are. Coming into tonight, of course, League of Europe Division 1, Montana does lead the way in the championship, 219 points. Basically, what M Short has got to do is win. Out on track. There are no other permutations around that. If he finishes second out on track, that's it. Montana wins, basically on default, for not even racing here tonight. It's Montana on top on 219, M Short second on 173, Verstappen third on 121, D. Daniel and Zhao Zhao are tied for fourth as well on 120. That battle's going to go down right to the wire. Justas in sixth on 114, now no longer a part of NSX. A bit of a falling out, I've heard, on that. Alphatrix in 7th on 86, Connor in 8th on 84, then Campbell 9th on 65, Rocco in 10th on 58, Nathan on 56, Neo on 53, Fake Yildream on 51, Yulmelmat in 14th on 36, Hardy on 33, Vaporizer 21, Kumblai on 15, E1 on 11, Wouter and Toxic on 8 and 7 respectively. Kooky Games and Chapelletti both tied for 5 points. Got there in the end. Montana, though, out on top. He's not racing here tonight, being disqualified and being race banned, of course, here tonight. M Short has got to win this race. The pressure's on.
Absolutely, and around a track like Belgium, where a lot of drivers do tend to enjoy this track, it's going to be very difficult for him to have a pace advantage over his rivals. But of course, two of his main competitive coming into this race in terms of actual pace is Montana and Connor, so that is just two drivers instantly out of the mix for him, and he really just needs to get himself in that right frame of mind, not even focus on what is happening around him, and just drive his race. It is crucial for him to drive as quickly as possible.
Yeah, it is crucial for M Short to try and get the win out on track tonight, because if he finishes second, if he finishes third, that's it. Montana wins basically on default and not even racing here tonight. So it's going to be fascinating to see how that is all going to unfold. And speaking of NSX Connor, he has got a replacement here tonight, and I'm delighted to see SMM_Fleddy, new member to the Sidemax Motorworks team. He is here tonight, the Dutchman. He's raced in, I've commentated on him actually in TTML Formula 2, which is actually not Formula 2, it's Division 2 of yeah, well, you get the gist. It's on a Wednesday night and it's Division 2, that's all I'm saying. Fleddy, though, will be interesting to see, because he actually was racing in the no assists side for in TTML on a Wednesday, and this is my first chance actually to see how he's going to get on. I thought he wasn't as quick, to be honest, for Division 1, but he's here, and he's hero merit.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a driver that I don't think I've ever actually commentated on before, so Possibly, it could be a bit of a dark horse coming into this Grand Prix. We have 19 drivers on the grid at the moment, but I wonder if we're actually going to get a 20th. Who are we missing? We're missing, got your grid, so we're missing a Racing Point car. That is obviously Montana, but he's not here tonight. So I wonder if they just not decided to get him replacement tonight?
I don't think they have. I mean, Yulbream has joined in NSX team in the Alpha Tauri, so he's alongside Chapelelli tonight. There's only going to be one Racing Point, it seems, but you may as well, because Racing Point have actually wrapped up the Constructors coming into tonight. They're on 339 points, McLaren in second on 226. Basically, they just need to confirm that here tonight. Renault's in third on 186, Red Bull fourth on 170, Alfa Romeo in fifth on 151, Williams sixth on 119, Mercedes seventh on 89, AlphaTauri in eighth on 69, Haas in ninth on 65, and Ferrari in 10th on 46 points. This is possibly the penultimate race of the season. League of Europe Division 1, M. Short has got to find something special here tonight if he wants to try and win the championship going into the final race of the season and keep his hopes alive in Brazil. But around a track like Spa, 7 kilometres in length, with, of course, the two DRS zones, one down the start-finish straight, one down the Kemmel straight, down in towards Les Combes, it is going to be really interesting to see how this is all going to unfold out on track, and it could be one of the closest qualifying sessions of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a track that a lot of these drivers love, as I previously mentioned, and this is one of my favourite circuits as well, so it's going to be an absolute cracker of a session. We are just waiting for everyone to load in. We're only going with 19 today, so they obviously weren't able to garner a final reserve for Montana's seat. One also threat that this track holds is the potential of rain. Rain is common around here. As I say that, there's just a slight bit in the sky. It's drizzling here at Spa-Francorchamps, and I think we'll see some intermediate running.
Yeah, we might see some intermediate running. It's difficult to see, actually. I don't think there's actually any rain falling out on track. It looks very overcast, though, looking at the haze in the background. Actually, no, I can see the rain falling down. So it is a dry qualifying session, but the rain is falling out on track. I shouldn't really get my co-commentator in a complete trouble there. But there we are. We have got the first cars coming out of the pit lane, and I think the first man is going to be Kooky Games. Kooky Games are regular out in first, but this is going to be treacherous. For him being the first man out on track, he has got to try and define where is the dry parts of the track and where could be the wet parts of the track as well. He is not hanging about, and I think most of the drivers are just waiting a little bit to try and get out. But around a track like Spa, the dinosaur-shaped track, as I like to call it, Kooky Games is the first man out on track. And looking at the comment section as well, Montana, really good support for Montana. Come on, M. Short, you can do this, is his comment. Is he trying to get into his opponent's head, or is he actually genuinely supporting him?
I mean, if he is supporting it, if he's supporting him, I do give him all the respect. What?
I said class act for Montana if he wants to do that. Sorry.
I think it might be a little bit of mind games just to be the friendly villain of Montana, you know, trying to get into your rivals' heads, but you're trying to seem more friendly with it. I don't know what his plan is there, but maybe it is just Montana being out of the kindness of his own heart, you know, wanting to take the championship fight all the way to the final race so he can actually prove himself to be winning it and not just have everyone else really not perform. You know, he wants to do it on his own. So I really do give him my full respect for that, but we'll see how I'm sure actually gets on. He's not out on circuit at the moment. Only a couple of cars are actually out on track. They are on the soft tyres, but the rain is falling at this point, so it's only a matter of time really before the track actually gets too wet to run the slick tyres. Whether Kooky Games and guys like that, no, I think they're all coming in. They just decided, nope, it is not the right conditions. I wouldn't be surprised if Nathan also pulls into the pits. No, he's going to go for his lap here.
Yeah, Nathan preparing up for a lap. I think Kooky Games might have picked up on this and next lap invalidated, and that's probably why he came into the pit lane. Nathan is coming then down in towards Turn 1 Atlas Source, this hairpin, of course. The old section of the track, of course, was down at the bus stop chicane. That used to be a proper chicane running on to the pit straight. It's still the chicane, but it's completely different. Now running up the hill through Eau Rouge and then Radion, not the other way around, and you can see having to lift off through there. Relentless Nathan now comes through the kink at turn 4 on the run down the Kemmel straight, and it's going to be really interesting to see how Nathan is going to get on through the first sector. 31 flat, it's not as quick as what we would have been expecting in these dry compounder tyres, but Nathan through the first sector, now coming out of Lecom, on the run down in towards Bruxelles. Bruxelles, of course, the capital of Belgium. Brussels, it is the proper name, but Bruxelles is the French translation, of course. Nathan now coming through in X corner, now for the left-hander, and on the run down towards Pouon, getting very wide there, nearly caused a bit of an invalidation, but Nathan now coming down in towards Pouon, and takes 7th gear through there, 150 mile an hour carry through on the exit of Pouon, and now running down into the Campos section, out on track. The chicane I always forget in terms of the corners, but I think it is the Campos section as we can now come through, and then of course we come through towards Stavridel, which is not this right-hander here, but it's the next right-hander out on track, and Nathan through the middle sector, 119.2, through the middle sector. It's not too bad, but it's not too quick, and Nathan now coming through Blanchimont, on the run up towards Blanchimont, carrying nearly 200 mile an hour. He will have to lift off, I would imagine, coming through Blanchimont. There's quite a few drivers still in the pit lane. Nathan taking the risks though out on tracks. He now runs up in towards the bus stop chicane through Blanchimont. He came there, and now Nathan coming through the final couple of corners out on track. We should have been expecting around the 140 mark. It's well off that in terms of the drive running out on track, but Nathan across the line, 148.7, really not the best lap we want to see at all out on track, as Rocco looks like he's going to be one of the next man to come across the line.
Yeah, Daniel's just finished up on his lap, and Rocco coming through the final sector here, I believe. Justas is finishing up on his run. He pulls into the pit lane. He's changed his name, so we've kind of defaulted back to the old. But Rocco crossing the line here, he goes in between Daniel and Nathan. I'd also like to point out Daniel has finally now found a esports organisation. He's a part of VRT, which is cool. Really well done to him, but Yulbrim goes to the top. And seeing these times, they don't scream intermediate conditions, given the fact that these are quicker than intermediate times. But maybe they're kind of on a tightrope at the moment, where it can go any way in this session. It can either get dry towards the end, and these guys will have to do another lap, or they could have set their time and this will be the top 5.
Yeah, judging by the crossover period, there's yellow flag in Sector 1. Don't worry about that, Yulbrim just off a lap. I'm on board with him, actually, out on track. But over the crossover period, I honestly think we are about 2 seconds inferior in terms of soft running compared to inter running out on track. You can see Hardy just in behind on Rocco. Rocco is on a lap, I think he's actually backed off this lap, but Hardy on a night lap. He's one of the first men out on track, I believe, who's going to be setting a lap. I think we've got M Short as well, and Neil just ahead of them out on track. M Short coming through Stavridel. Neil is going to be the next man to go onto a lap. He's on a set of soft compounder tyres, but the rain looks to me maybe as if it's easing off. It hasn't really intensified, the rain out on track, but Neil will be hoping to try. Oh, and actually he comes into the pit lane. Absolutely typical from Neo. He comes into the pit lane. Let's see if M Short is going to try and do us any justice. He now comes into the bus stop chicane. Is he coming into the pit lane? Yes. Terrible. Nobody wants to set a lap here.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why they're doing this, this kind of, I guess, faking us out. But
Delta time.
I mean,
it has to be.
They can set their delta, but why? It just doesn't really make any sense to me. I'm kind of noticing the rain is sort of easing off. So maybe these guys were just putting in a lap because they might have. I have no clue why or how the sessions are. It's going to unfold. It definitely looks like the rain is easing off. I think we're okay in that regard, and the rain might have actually just stopped. I'm not too sure. I think the rain is completely stopped here.
Yeah, Montana literally, that's what I went ooh at in the comment section. Montana said rain is supposed to stop soon. Literally about 10 seconds later, the rain has stopped. Out on track, and that's what these guys are waiting for. They're waiting for more dry running. You can see actually a little bit of spray coming off the tyres on the run in towards Stavridel. There's drier parts of the track and wetter parts of the track out there. And Yulbrim currently out on top, Nathan second, Rocco in third. But these times do not justify how quick these guys should really be going on a dry surface, because we should be looking at 140, 141s around here in Division 1. because of that, we are about 8 seconds, really, off peak times, possibly out on track. Zhao Zhao is going to be one of the first men to come across the line, and I'm going to back him for pole position here tonight. I think Zhao Zhao might do this out on track, and Zhao Zhao now on the run down in towards turn number 1, through in towards Lasol's hairpin. The Sun just trying to break through there as Daniel comes out the pit lane. Everyone now coming out the pit lane, and a little bit of traffic ahead for Zhao Zhao. But them short getting out of the way to the left-hand side. Zhao Zhao now the run through Eau Rouge, through Radion, and he's actually taken it flat out, so you can already see it is a lot cleaner and a lot drier out on track as he then runs up the hill, through towards the Camel Straight, down in towards Le Corme, and Zhao Zhao through the first sector. That's more like it, a 29.9 through the first sector. Very good first sector of that as well, but there's going to be plenty of improvements out on track. We've got Yul Melmat, Chapelelli also on lap times as well, but Zhao Zhao now on the run down in towards Bruxelles. Just runs wide slightly, but a good lap so far from the Dane. And the Danes, of course, will be hoping for Eurovision success next weekend. I'll have to mention that, of course. I'm a massive Eurovision fan. Jojo now running down in towards Pouon, and now beautifully done through Pouon, actually, as he now runs down in towards the Campos section, out on track. It's still Yul Man on top, Nathan second, Rocco in third. If you are just tuning in, you really have not missed much in terms of the driving out there. But Jaja now running down in towards the Campos section, now in towards Stavolo, and a 114.8 is way quicker than Nathan, way quicker than Yul Dream through the middle sector, and Jaja will be hoping for provisional pole at this stage. I don't think it's going to be around the 140s, but it's certainly going to be a quicker time. There's a yellow flag in the final sector. I think that's Neo on an outlap just ahead. But Jaja now in towards the final corner. This is going to be quicker, so I can definitely tell you that. It's going to be around the 142 mark, I think. Campbell across the line at 141.9. Jaja across the line at 142.8. And I think, to be honest, he took it a little bit more conservatively than we saw from Campbell.
Yep, so these times they will definitely be coming down at the end of the track is still wet. It might not be raining anymore, but there is still standing water that will eventually dry up as the session goes on. We might not see conditions that are identical to complete dry at the end of the race, so these times could be really representative as Yul Melmat goes to the top, 41.2. You'd still expect these guys to be in around about the low to mid 140s, so do not really take these times as what they are at the moment, because they will improve towards the end of the session. M Short has just gone about 2/10 quicker than Zhao Zhao did in the first sector. He's catching up to a little bit of traffic at the moment through Bruxelles. He's got Campbell in front of him, second on the grid so far, and there's an Alfa Romeo car just in front as well. That's Zhao Zhao. Both of these guys getting out of the way very nicely right here. So coming through Pouon comes M Short, who could lose out on the championship tonight if he does not perform. It's really where he's got to prove himself to be the right contender for this championship against Montana. Not here tonight. M Short through the second sector split. He is about to approach now. We'll see what his time is. That's a 12.8. That is more like it, and that is appeared purple on the track map to the right hand side. So M Short, what can he do from here? He's coming through Blanchimont now, the flat out sequence of corners up towards the bus stop chicane, which isn't really a bus stop anymore. Into the braking zone comes the British driver Neo, crossing the line of 40.8. But now what about M Short? Can he beat his teammate to cross the line? And indeed it is, by about half a tenth of a second. Right now it's a McLaren 1-2.
Well, it's not now, because D Daniel's just gone top at 140.6 from D Daniel. Lays the gauntlet down, and we saw him in Austria, of course, take the win the first round of the season. Can he try and replicate that out on track? But D Daniel on top, M Short in second, Neo in third. Looking further down the field, Kumblai is coming around the final corner, 113.2 through the middle sector. Doesn't look as quick. Kumblai across the line, he goes seventh. Alphatrix is on a lap as well. Alphatrix could be the one, and this is defined really as a pad track, I would imagine. And Alphatrix now on a lap. I don't think... Is he on a lap, actually? I'm just seeing... Yeah, he is on a lap, actually. He just got me confused. He was running no ERS there. Alphatrix though through the end of the middle sector. Oh, this is quick. A 112.4 through the middle sector. And we saw M Short at 112.8. Alphatrix is lightning at the minute out on track. He now runs up in towards Blanchimont on the run up towards bus stop, and this is going to be the quickest time of the night. I have no questions about that at all. As Alphatrix comes in towards the final corner, Daniel out on top, just our second, but for how long? Alphatrix, I think it's a 140.4, comes across the line, 140.4, and Alphatrix is out on top and lays the gauntlet down.
5 minutes left to go in this session, and Alphatrix has put in a very competitive time to go 2.5 tenths quicker than anyone else on circuit. A brilliant time from the Red Bull man. He could well spoil the party for M. Short if he's putting in performances like this. Daniel and Justas also in front of the driver who needs a win today and nothing else. He's got Montana watching in the chat, saying that he's not racing to give M. Short a chance. He has clarified that that's not the case, but yeah, he is not here, of course, as we have mentioned a couple of times before. I think we probably do need to give it a little bit of a rest. Oh, saying that, I think I need to give it a bit of a rest. Not many drivers really putting in laps at the moment, but it's looking like a very strong performance from Alphatrix.
Yeah, and Alphatrix, it's more like it from Alphatrix. We haven't seen him at his best this season, and I think he's just been caught up in the wash of talent that has really came through here in Liga Group Division 1 this season. We've had the likes of Montana rekindling his fire out on track and really doing a great job, possibly going to wrap up the championship here tonight. We've got the likes of D. Daniel, we've got the likes of M. Shaw coming through as well, and then we've got the real new guys that are coming through, the likes of Zhao Zhao, who is down in 16th position at this stage, but trust me when I say this, that is not a representative time at all. Yulbream as well, not a representative time at all. These guys are going to be going probably around 2.5 seconds quicker for Zhao Zhao, and Yulbream will probably go about 8 seconds quicker than his lap time. And Alphatrix is rekindling that light as the sun comes through, bursting through with 3.5 minutes to go here in qualifying. It's Alphatrix on top, D. Daniel second, Justas in third. But Alphatrix, I think, is the only man, if I'm not mistaken, in the top 5 that might actually be on a pad. And that's why he's probably 2.5 tenths clear.
I don't think the pad difference is really 2.5 tenths. I'm not too sure, really, if the entirety of the advantage is just because he's on the pad. I think it is just the undeniable pace that Alphatrix has had around this track in the past as well. He has been very competitive. I don't think he won here last time we came out. If I'm not mistaken, I think Connor won this race. Oh no, that was Connor's first Grand Prix in League of Europe. I think he won in Mexico, so I'm not too sure. To be completely honest with you, I can actually probably have a look in just a moment's time. But,
that's what I'm doing as well at the minute. I'm just trying to have a look and seeing who won last season in Division 1. Was it Montana by any chance? Let's have a look. Belgium.
He can tell us in the chat, probably.
It was Montana who won. It was Montana who won. Connor was second, and Alphatrix was third. That was the top 3 out on track last season. And then M. Short, who was in his 3rd race in Division 1 last season, of course getting promoted from Division 2 after his utter dominance, he finished in 5th position out on track. And look where he is in qualifying. He's 4th at the minute.
Yeah, so I'm not too sure who's in between.
Out on track, I've never seen everybody on an outlap. That's all I'm going to say. You can see it on your screen. I've never seen anybody, everybody on an outlap at the same time. This is really cool.
Yeah, that's... I believe it's going to be Yulbream that'll be the first one off to put us on a lap. He's on a 48.2. If he doesn't improve on that, I'll be quite disappointed because it's a very, very easy time to beat. I think probably the worst players on the game could do quicker than a 48.2, but of course Yulbream is he was in wet conditions on dry tyres, so I think we'll let him off win that one. But he's about to begin on his lap. 1 minute 20 left in the session. I think that this is going to be everyone's final run here.
Taking a very wide line, coming out through the bus stop chicane on the run down in towards the source, and Yulbream will be hoping for a really good lap out on track. A 148.2, really not respectful. He's got Zhao Zhao behind him out on track in plenty of clear air, and plenty of clear air to be found, except from where Stavolo is at the minute, because there's a lot of grouping, maybe for being the final man to get across the line, and it looks like that final man will be Wouter out on track for Relentless. He might be the final man to come across the line. Yulbream on the run up towards Lecom. And it's a 29.8 through the first second. You can already see he's a second up as he nearly rides the curb. On the exit in toward Lecom, on the exit now out of Lecom, and now runs down in towards Bruxelles. And it's a 148.2. his lap currently, but he will be improving on this lap, I have no shadow of doubt, unless he picks up an invalidation. He'll be now out of X and now running down in towards Puon, and this is where the nitty-gritty really begins. Alphatrix might be the final man to come across the line as well. Ruta is going to be the final man to come across the line with probably just under 10 seconds to go. Yildirim though on a lap, and we've got plenty of improvements to be found out on track. Who's going to take pole remains to be seen. Keep watching on as Yildirim now comes through in towards Stavilo, and it's not entirely quick through the middle sector. It's probably one of the quicker guys toward the likes of Vaporizer, Rocco sort of area, and it was a 112.6 I think it was through the middle sector from Yildirim as he now runs in towards Blanchimont through 17 and then up the hill in towards turns 18 and 19. A lot of elevation change of course around here in Belgium. Jaja looks like he's on a fly of a lap though in behind. Yildirim now coming through the final couple of corners. Is he going to go towards the top end of the field? He does, he goes third. Really good lap time, but I think Jaja's going to trump a lot of them. Jaja now comes across the line, and he goes second. He goes third, in fact, 0.02 of a second off D. Daniel. Neo goes second. How many times are we going to see improvements up the field?
I'd imagine quite a lot of times in this session. Verstappen just crossed the line. He could only imagine manage 11th fastest. More drivers about to cross the line. Fleddy has just finished up on a lap and he goes into 11th, displacing Verstappen. There's a Vaporizer going up into second position, so close to Alphatrix. Where is Alphatrix? He's about half a down as Gil Melmat goes up to the top of the standings here, just about 200th of a second quicker than Alphatrix. What about Alphatrix through the final sector here? He's got two Mercedes and of course M Short behind him, so it's not all clear if he does improve coming out the final corner. Alphatrix, can he improve? He does, but it's not enough to beat his rival. Where's M Short in this? He's 3/10 up on his previous best time to cross the line. M Short in second position, 0.004 of a second off Yul Melmat, who takes pole here.
Yul Melmat with probably one of the closest qualifying sessions you will ever see. Heart in mouth moment, and Yildirim is out on top. Look at the top three. They're separated by 0.007 of a second. Yildirim outside, Yul Melmat, I should say, out on top. M Short in second, Alphatrix in third, Vaporizer fourth, Justas in fifth, Neil sixth, Chapelelli seventh, Rocco in eighth, Daniel ninth. Jojo and Kooky Games have set the same lap time in 10th and 11th. Nathan in 12th, Yildirim 13th, Campbell 14th, Fleddy in 15th, Verstappen 16th, Hardy and Ruta and Kuhn Bly. 0.9 of a second separating the whole field out on track. Just got it outdone by 0.04 of a second in comparison to last season. So, not as close as last season, but 0.04 of a second comparison between the fastest lap for Montana, a 140.5 out on track in Division 1 last season, and Kuka Games, it was 19th. He was 8.5 tenths down off Montana, but we have nearly 0.9 of a second separating the whole field.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very close around this circuit, which is 7 kilometers in length as well. So you got to give credit for these guys to be as close as they were, because there are a lot more places to make mistakes on this track than other shorter circuits like Austria or Zandvoort that we went to earlier on in the season. So really good stuff from these drivers. It's looking like a dry race. Slight clouds overhead, so that could possibly hint at some rain later on in the Grand Prix. But for now, it seems like they are going to be using the slick tyres. They're just waiting on the grid, locking in their strategies, and then they will get ready to go in this Grand Prix. 30 seconds until this race starts.
I really cannot wait for this, honestly. It is going to be really, really interesting to see. M Short second, out on track. Coming into tonight, he has got to put this on the line. The M Short fan club, I'm sure, at home, are going to be absolutely crapping themselves in terms of how their son is going to do out on track tonight. And I honestly imagine how everyone is going to be feeling at the end of this race. But hopefully we deliver. Hopefully it's going to be a really great race. Montana has said rain at the end of the race. And that's probably coming from one of the NSX drivers, probably Vaporizer or someone like that. But we get underway on the formation app, and with rain at the end of the race, blue skies and sunshine at the minute, softs and mediums seem to be the strategy that everyone is going on at this stage. Top 10, of course, qualifying on that set of softs. Everyone else on a set of mediums from 11th down to 19th. With rain due at the end of the race, possibly, this is going to be really, really interesting to see, as Yul Melmat, for me, is using up his... Oh, everyone's using up their ERS. I've never noticed that before.
Yeah, well, they do get used up, but when they're actually set on the grid, then it all builds back up to 100. So everyone will start on 100%, and it really makes much of a difference unless you're starting sub 10%, where of course your ERS power is cut in half. But you'd have to think, with rain coming at the end of the Grand Prix, that the drivers in the top 10 starting on the set of the soft tyres, they're going to be a huge disadvantage in comparison to the medium runners, because those guys, they're not going to be able to take these tyres very long. This is a pretty high grip circuit, a big amount of degradation on this track, so it's going to be very tricky for them to actually extend possibly to a wet period, whereas the medium runners, they can go pretty damn far in this race, as Campbell has put it into the grass on the formation lap there. I think he's going to sheepishly rejoin the circuit, but he didn't get away from me there.
Didn't get away from you, he got away from me because I wasn't even on board with him. So Campbell is very, very lucky that I didn't ride on board with him, just to put a little bit of humiliation on him later on. But you'll know that's out on top. M Short second, Alpha Trixon third. Montana has mentioned it. So pad and wheel seem very, very equal around here, and it's gonna be fascinating to see how this is all gonna unfold up. You'll Melmat, we have seen him win before in Bahrain. M Short, we haven't seen him win before, I don't think, this season. I could be wrong in just saying that. I think he has won possibly this season. Alpha Trix has certainly won this season. Vaporizer, Justas, Neo, Chapelletti, we're looking down possibly towards the bottom end of the field, but this is going to be maybe one of the greatest races you may ever see. The penultimate round of the championship is about to begin, and I'm going to come across to my co-commentator Daniel Field. Who's your top three?
Oh, my top three is very tricky for me to call at this point because of the rain looming at the end of the race. I just do not know, but if we're just going off how they performed so far in this qualifying session and this season in general, I'll go Alpha Trix winning this race, M Short in second, and third we'll go for just Justas, sorry.
Running on board with your Melmat. There is his look at down in towards turn 1. M Short view down in towards turn 1. And we are just moments away from beginning here out on track in Belgium. The penultimate round of the championship here in Liga Roof Division 1 is about to begin of Season 5. And Yul Melmat, 5 red lights are now out. And it's lights down, away we go, and Yul Melmat gets a really good start. We already see a graphic switch to the left-hand side, but Yul Melmat will hold the lead down in towards turn 1. M Short trying to go all the way around the outside. There's a Williams diving out. That's Justas on Alpha Trix. They don't want to be caught up in the old sort of carnage. A little bit of ghosting system failure there, but everyone's clean through turn 1. Now on the run down towards Arush and Radion, and actually the side-by-side, I think that was Vapor, Jow Jow and Rocco, I think, were going side-by-side just then. Nathan's right on the back already, but there's a lot of side-by-side action. There's a Mercedes on the grass there. Nathan losing their position to Kuka Games. Alpha Trix is right on the back of Justas, but through the first sector, Yul Melmat leads from M Short in second, Justas in third, Alpha Trix in fourth, and Justas with a really good start, diving down the inside line. There's a bit of contact further down the field. I think Nathan has been caught up in a little bit of contact. He's lost 2 positions, and Jow Jow was fighting with Rocco there down in towards Bruxelles, but not close enough. Yul Melmat leads, M Short in second, Justas in third. The position gains, the Daniel up 3, most position gains, most positions lost, Fleddy.
Yeah, so Fleddy down into 18th position at the moment. He's trying to fight onto the back of Wouter through Poo, and I think Nick has actually made a mistake as well. And Verstappen's trying to sneak up the inside of him, coming in towards the second sector here, and he's made that move, Stick. On the inside, as I think Jow Jow's run into an incident there, and I think it was with them, probably Mercedes further up the order. It might have been Hardy that he Hardy's got damage. Hardy has a left side end plate damage, so I'd expect him to come into the pit lane at the end of this lap.
Root is going side by side with Hardy, and yeah, Hardy might be the one with damage. I think it might have been Nathan further up the field though, so was one of the Mercedes, I think, that he got caught up with, and now Jow Jow all the way down in 17th position. He's got a mountain to climb if he wants to try and win this. Hardy, Rooter, 15th, 16th, 17th, but Yul Melmat is absolutely streaked away, out in front by 1.2 seconds across the line. On to lap 2 we go. M Short in second, Justas third, Alpha Trix in fourth. Typical again that we get another graphic switch to the left-hand side, but at the minute, really good going out on track, and M Short's going to come under a little bit of pressure from Justas, the former NSX man, of course, now no longer a part of that team, and he's going to be fighting with M Short right on the back of him, running up towards Lecom.
Yeah, at the moment they they have not got DRS enabled. It is showing as lap number 3 on the left-hand side, but it's only lap 2. DRS doesn't get enabled until lap number 3, so Short's got to do his utmost to catch back up to Yul Melmat at this point, because if he doesn't, then he won't have the DRS down the very important straightaway into towards Lake Com. So it is really just that is going to be his priority at the moment, as at the moment the graphics are glitched, so we don't have representative deltas or intervals to the drivers, but I think actually Short has closed up enough to be within DRS range of Yul Melmat.
I think he has, but Yul Melmat for me is at least showing with no ERS. That's really strange. I'm not sure if it's a glitch. I think it might be a glitch, to be honest. But now he's using up the overtake mode, or just opened up his ERS a little bit. Short's behind him. It's 1.2 seconds it says on the graphic. It's probably not 1.2 seconds, but Yul Melmat leads Short in second, but Short's got away as well from Justas, and it's probably around the same gap as actually Yul Melmat to Short at this stage. The side-by-side further down the field, though, Hardy and Kumbly. Hardy with that damage. Kumbly is now through, he's into 16. Blue flags going on track, I don't know why. Jajo right on the back of Ruta, but Yul Melmat leads us 1.1 seconds over Short. Justas in third, Alphatrix in fourth, and now Yul Melmat has got his ERS back, and actually, in terms of his ERS usage, he's got 47%, Short's got 19%, Justas has got 49%, Short's the one that might be in trouble, as Chapelelli close up to the back of Alphatrix, running up in towards a Rouge and Radion.
Yeah, Chapelelli right onto the back of Alphatrix at the moment, 4P4 at the moment, as coming onto the straightaway. Chapelelli's not going to commit to anything that he cannot guarantee will be made, so he's not going to go for the move. He'll hang back, but it seems like there's been a little bit of a gap between the top 5 and the rest of the order. D. Daniel is still closing back up to Chapelelli, and we will probably see a DRS train begin to form in this Grand Prix, aside from Short, who's just not close enough to pick up the DRS assistant, the 1 second window that you do need to activate it down the straightaway. Chapelelli! Eyes on the wall through Pouon. I thought he was going to recover. That would have been one of the most insanest drifts I've ever seen coming through Pouon. But he's lost the back end on the approach into Pouon. Literally lost the back end, and now he's all the way down in 17th position. Chapelelli, more like Bosselelli. Well, that's what Chapelelli really does do best. It's unfortunate that he has been caught up in that, but it's probably self-inflicted. Given that he wasn't really close to anyone on circuit. I wonder if he does want to stay in the race, or if he's just going to come into the pit lane and retire. Further back down the order, though, in around about 8th position, the medium runners are currently still right up behind the soft tyre runners of Rocco, Neo and Vaporizer. Those are the guys that they're closest with at the moment. Yorbream is in this train as well, and he is a podium setter this season. He is certainly quicker than being in 10th position, so he could most definitely try and make his way up the order. And it's a little bit further up ahead, though. Neo is very close to the back of Vaporizer. Chapelelli retiring in the pit lane. Vaporizer has not got DRS on the car in front. Neo onto the back of him down the straightaway. Justas also making the move on Short in front. McLaren's making moves. One going the right way, the other going the complete opposite.
Yeah, around the outside. Oh, Vaporizer caught up in a bit of contact with Neo. And Neo was sent him round. Vaporizer was round. He just about rejoined. Jajo got the move done as well on Ruta and all of that. So Vaporizer now down into 16th position. Driving standards just need to improve a little bit, if I've got to be honest. Yul Melmat leads the way. Justas in second. Short in third. Justas got that move done. Neo also got that move done. And Alphatrix is now right on the back of Short. And as I said, Short is the one that is struggling out on track. And if he finishes third, it's not enough. If he finishes second, it's not enough. Short has got to be reliant on the rain later on in the race, because at this moment in time, he hasn't got the pace.
Absolutely, as first coming out of the day, going towards Wuta. 3 seconds coming back to him. That is for 3 infractions where he's gone off the circuit, and he's not, and he's gained time out of that. So really unfortunate that he has been caught up in that. Alphatrix on the back of Short. Short's really struggling for pace at the moment. He might have optimised his setup for the wet conditions that are coming later on in the Grand Prix, as Justas putting in the fastest lap of the race. He's now right onto the back of Jul Melma as well, so we could see 2 consecutive moves being made in towards Lecom. I think definitely Justas wants to go for this move on Jul Melma. The Haas car against the Willings battling for the lead. We've not said that. I don't think in F1, but Justas, this should be the easiest move of his life to the outside line. Jul Melma's not even going to fight this one. He's saving up his ERS as well. He's got 29%, 30%, whilst Justas has pretty much used all of it up. So I'd say that's a smart move from Jul Melma not to fight that one there.
Yeah, it is really smart from Jul Melma. I was just saying, yeah, Justas was derating actually down the straight. He still managed to get the move done. Big lock-up, though, down and towards Bruxelles. And on lap 5 out of 22, it's Justas who now leads. Jul Melma in second, M Short in third. M Short all of a sudden has picked up the pace, and he's now beginning to get onto the back of Jul Melma once again. And Jul Melma all of a sudden is the one that is struggling for a little bit of pace. Chapelelli was mentioned in the comment section as well. He didn't even know why the rear just went. It was so unfortunate for him that I was actually riding on board with him at the time that he spun. So I'm sure he will not like watching that back, certainly. But Justas leading the way, Jul Melma second, M Short in third. Alphatrix just losing a little bit of time now on the back of D Daniel. D Daniel now 5/10 off him. Alphatrix 7/10 off M Short at this time. But we would imagine that the pit stops are going to be starting to happen, especially those guys in a set of soft compound tyre will be hoping to come into the pit lane. One man that is catching my eye further down the field, Jojo. He spun earlier on in the race, and how is he off the pace by 7.3 seconds?
What? Wait,
he's off the leader by 7.3 seconds.
I guess he didn't spin too far back. He wasn't up in the top 10. He has recovered pretty well. I think the main point for him was that he was able to rejoin in the DRS train, and that really helped him at the end of the day. So he is still in that position where he can make up moves. He's in the DRS train, which I guess is really all he cares about. But up the order, Jul Melma could be onto the back of Justas, opening up the DRS, using a little bit of his overtake. Job done in towards Lecom, but it might not actually be that easy if Justas tries to fight this one back around the outside. Not quite. Could push him back the way of M Short, who's just hanging on in there. 22% of his ERS. He's still trying to fight this one. Alphatrix beginning to fall back ever so slightly in this Grand Prix. Jul Melma, though, he's moving to the lead of the Grand Prix. Justas caught up in second. M Short just watching behind in third.
Yeah, Jul Melma doing a good job there. Justas, Jul Melma's tyres just look like they're beginning to overheat slightly. He just found wide coming out of Lecom, and it just put Justas under a little pressure from M Short as well. He was about 2.5 tenths off, but now, as the gap widens, Jul Melma begins to pull away once again. He's got natural pace out on track as Jul Melma. Justas has also got natural pace, but he hasn't got the pace coming through the middle sector. It's the first and third sectors, I think, that Justas really aces out on track, and Justas now, he's 7 tenths down all of a sudden from Jul Melma, and Jul Melma now, without using up any overtake mode, is beginning to pull away once again. But in this final sector out on track, Justas begins to close up once again. I think Justas has gone primarily, maybe, for a speed setup rather than a cornering setup, and that's why we're seeing him now close up to the back on the run towards Blanchimont. In the meantime, loads of pit stops happening. Kooky Games diving it on Yulbream. I think Yulbream trying to go around the outside of him there. Justas and the lights are into the pit lane, but Kooky Games down the inside line. It was a bit reckless, if I've got to be honest, but Kooky Games is through and he's into P4 now. Yulbream in 5th. Really didn't know what happened there, to be honest, but Kooky Games is through nonetheless.
Yeah, it was actually the other way round. Yulbream tried going to the outside of Kooky Games into the corner, and Kooky Games just shut the door on him, but it could be all over for the defence because, oh my gosh, look at the overspeed that he's got. He's about 10 kilometres per hour quicker than Kooky Games at the beginning of the straight. He's now at 322. Kooky Games only on 315 as there's yellow flags. I think that is it's Alfa Romeo car. Jojo continuing to have issues in this Grand Prix.
Yep, Jojo, I think, has spun coming out of La Source. I'm not sure if he's actually got a little bit of damage. He has left side end plate damage on the car, so obviously he's lost that on the exit of turn 1, probably on the left-hand side wall instead of on the right-hand side. He's probably got caught on the curb, lost the rear end, and then has spun into the wall, and he's now lost the position to Alphatrix as well. But now, Jul Melma's still in the lead of the race. D Daniel 2nd, Neo 3rd, Yulbream 4th, Kooky Games 5th, Campbell 6th, Verstappen 7th, Kublai 8th, Roots in 9th, Fleddy in rounding off the top 10, Justas in 11th, M Short in 12th, Rockel 13th, Alpha Trix in 14th, Jojo 15th, Vaporizer 16th, Nathan 17th, and Hardy in 18th, as we are on near toward the end of lap 8 out on track, as Yul Melmat leads 1.8 seconds out on track. But we have to speak about the undercut around here. Justas and M Short are in clear air. M Short's chasing Justas down, has been dragged into this race. The current gap is 18.3 seconds. I'm sure a pit stop around here is, what, 19 seconds, I would say? As Yul Melmat stays out, Daniel and Neil, though, are into the pit lane, and this is the first indication of when, if and only if Daniel and Neo have actually overcut M Short and Justas. But I don't think they have.
Yeah, no, it is very unlikely that they do come out ahead of the two drivers who pitted the lap before. I raced here last night on the PC platform in LOE, and I did start in the top 10. I was on the soft tyres, and around about this point, they completely done. I was sliding through every corner, so the difference in pace between the mediums and the fresher soft, the fresher soft.
Oh, Jojo.
Yeah, Jojo's out. He's in the pit lane. So that's our second retirement of the day. But yeah, it was pretty clear cut that they would come out ahead of Daniel and Rocco, who just pitted, as well as Alphatrix, who's lost a lot of time to them.
Yeah, Rocco's actually ahead of Neo coming out the pit lane, so Rocco was undercut Neo out on track, and now he is up into P12. That yellow flag in Sector 1, of course, is for Jojo's, well, fake AI car now, apparently. Yul Melmat, though, still leads the way. It's 3 seconds the gap, but we are transitioning to see the medium runners begin to come into play. When is this cloud cover going to come? All important, we see, it's one of the longest runs out on track. It's 7 kilometres length. This is the longest circuit on the F1 calendar. And Yulbream's now getting closed down by... Yul Melmat getting closed down by Yulbream out on track. But when does the cloud cover come? When are these clouds going to begin to form? And that will give us the first indication of when we are going to get this rain later on in the race. But Yul Melmat at this stage, the gap to Justas is 16.9 seconds. Yul Melmat, I think, is going to be in a net third when he comes out the pits.
Yeah, he's probably going to lose the positions to Justas and M Short, but he does pull into the pit lane. That leaves Yulbream into the lead of the Grand Prix. Clouds are slightly forming above the skies, ever so slightly. They're very faint at the moment, so I don't think we'll see any rain for quite some time in this race, but I do think it will be within the life of the medium tyres, because these guys would have opted for hards, surely, because they don't want to make the extra pit stop.
Oh, look
as Yul Melmat coming out the pit lane now. As through the first corner comes Justas and M Short as well. Yul Melmat just behind Daniel, and going from a full race lead, he's now a net P4.
Yeah, and Yul Melmat's actually been quite smart there, possibly, because we're getting further into the race and there's no sign of any rain yet from Jeff out on track. So it might actually be the case where we might not get any rain at all in this race. It might be at the 45-minute mark, which will probably be right at the end of the race. M Short now on the back of Justas. Daniel trying to pressurise, and now we've got two racers. We've got Yulbream, Kuka Games, Camel and Verstappen, who are hoping this rain is going to come early. We've then got the guys, Justas, M Short, who are fighting out currently for the net race lead, and they'll be hoping that the rain doesn't come as soon as possible, and it comes right on the later stage of this race, because those mediums will get to the end of the race from here, 15 laps or so on those tyres, and Justas now on the back, or trying to catch onto the back of Fleddy. He's 6.4 seconds up the road. M Short, though, on the back as Alphatrix has picked up a penalty just in behind the wash, coming through Puon, I think that was. But Justas now pulling away, and M Short again. He just does not have the pace.
Yeah, he's losing a lot of time to Justas as well. Closing right up to the back of him as we speak. He's kind of 3 tenths, 4 tenths back. Yul Melmat also as well. I definitely think he is going to be putting on a lot more pressure, given that he has 2 laps fresher tyres than M Short and Justas. I believe Daniel was just 1 lap fresher than, but through the final corner they come now at the bus stop chicane. We'll see if any of these guys really want to pull the trigger and go for a move, as Yul Melmat close enough to go for a dive bomb Hail Mary send into the source. It's very difficult to actually pull off a move, even though it is very tempting to. It's pretty difficult to make an overtake through that corner, but now he's got 60% of his ERS, does Yul Melmat. I wonder if he does want to commit to going for the move on towards Daniel onto the straightaway, but P10 on track, a net podium, as no, he's not going to go for the move. He's just caught in the DRS train. Clouds begin to move above the sky. I can definitely see one big cloud off in the distance.
Yep, clouds are beginning to form, and this is where now the transition period will happen. All of these guys in a set of mediums will begin to come into play, especially on a fresh set of mediums as opposed to a worn set, because Yildirim and Kuka Games are going to be around 40% at this point. The likes of M Short and Justas, they're going to be around, I would say, less than 10% at this point. And Justas are beginning to pull away from M Short. It's still 0.7 of a second. M Short, though, has got to get a wriggle on. He has got to basically throw the kitchen sink at this stage at Justas, even at this early stage in the race, because at the minute, he is not going to win the championship, and he's not going to take it to the final round of the season if, and only if, he hasn't got the pace here tonight, because it is defining. This is the definitive moment in Liga Group Division 1 this season. Montana, who's got a race ban, not racing by default, could win the championship here tonight, and M Short is all reliant on this man's shoulders out on track. D. Daniel beginning to close up as well. And do you know what? I think D. Daniel might be the freshest out of the lot, as well as Yul Milmat. They're going to be fresher than the lot out on track as the clouds begin to form. I would say we're probably around 5 minutes away, actually, from being completely overcast.
Yeah, absolutely. They are definitely beginning to get a lot heavier than they were before, so I do think we will see the rain begin to form in maybe 5 or 6 laps. Possibly, I don't know really. It's still more blue skies than there is grey clouds ahead, so that is one thing to
Here comes
note. Milma onto the back of D. Daniel. D. Daniel does have the DRS on M Short though, and I think he might have actually tried to go for the move into the comp. No, he's not close enough to go for the move here. That is kind of the dangers of being caught in a DRS train. It's very difficult to make an overtake, so he might have to go for a move in an optional position, a bit like we saw earlier on in the Grand Prix when Verstappen made the move on Nathan. D. Daniel getting very close to the back of M Short though. M Short just struggling still in this race, holding these two up, I'd say. I don't know, he's not really doing too much to fight them. It's just very difficult to overtake them in the DRS train.
It's cloudy now out on track. The clouds beginning to form over the circuit, especially in the middle sector as opposed to the final sector, and you know when it rains around here in Spa it absolutely pours, just like in WEC when I remember it was literally 4 seasons in one race. It was the 24 Hours of Spa, I think in 2019 if I'm not mistaken, and they had snow and everything. Weird. Yildirim leading the way, Kuka Games in second, Campbell third, Verstappen in fourth, Kublai in fifth at this position. But now, with Kuka Games into the pit lane, what does he transition onto? I think if he's smart, he has to go mediums if there's going to be a threat of rain at the end of the race, because those are the only tyres really that can get him towards the end of the race. But he might go on a set of hard compound tyres. Montana was saying in the comment section as well, there's still no threat of rain, and Kuka Games Ultra set of soft compound tyres. That says to me that there is going to be rain. Verstappen now on the back of Campbell though for second, running down the Campbell straight, and Verstappen on the back of Campbell and absolutely sails on by. Verstappen is through into second position, and M Short still trying to hunt down Justas on the run up towards the Lacombe section out on track. Justas getting closed down all the way by M Short. I don't think he's going to be close enough. But M Short's just recognising that Justas could be forced into a slight mistake, and if there's one mistake from Justas, that could seal maybe M Short winning this race.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think Cookie Games, his choice is fine, because just about 10.5 laps to go in this Grand Prix for him. They can get to the end on those subs. They can normally go about 10 laps from the beginning of the Grand Prix, but of course they are on lighter fuel, so they're not putting as much wear into the tyres, so he should be able to get to the end. He will be very, very slow in comparison to his rivals come the end of the race, but at this moment in time he's just trying to work with the undercut. Well, got about 2 seconds to the nearest car in front of him, so that could be a little bit of a threat, I guess, for those drivers. Rain in 15, says Montana. Interesting one there. That'll be right at the end of the Grand Prix. And I actually don't think that those mediums will last long enough. The drivers at the front, I don't think those mediums will last long enough. Campbell's into the pit lane as well, so these guys all boxing onto a set of the soft compound tyres, I'd expect, should get the undercut on their rivals.
Yeah, I would imagine so, and it's quite smart, I've got to be honest, from Cookie Games and from Campbell, who are both into the pit lane, onto a set of soft compound tyres that go. And if there's rain in 15 minutes, by my calculations, that's going to be on lap 20. That is 3 laps from the end of the race. And there's going to be, if it rains around here, if it absolutely pours down out on track, then, and only then, I think we're going to see maybe the dry set of running towards the end of the race. It might be that case, or it might just absolutely team it down to the point where drivers are going to have to try and either stay out on a set of softs or on a set of mediums, or go in for a box in for a set of inters, which may be the quicker tyre right at the end of this race. Who knows what's going to happen in the next 9 laps or so. Yildirim leading the way, Verstappen in second, Kuhnblai in third. The guys on a set of medium compound tyres are still staying out. Vaporizer and Nathan having a good battle further down the field. Vaporizer through, and he's into 15th position. That in turn might be actually around a net P5, a net P10, I would say, out on track when the guys maybe come into the pit lane as Campbell picks up his first 3-second time penalty of the night. Yildirim leading the way, Verstappen in second, Rumble with them short. D. Daniel trying to threaten him in behind. Neil Melmas Rice also right on the back, but can't find a way through.
Absolutely, so they're all just caught up together in behind Justas at the moment. He's got some decent pace on him. He is slowly catching up to the back of Fleddy, but Cookie Games has found himself in the DRS train now. Vaporizer picking up a 3-second time penalty. The 2 leaders come into the pit lane, and I expect Kuhnblai, he's going to stay out. Wuta pulls into the box, as does Fleddy, so there's only one sole medium runner left in this Grand Prix who started on that compound, and that is Kuhnblai. He's going to take the lead on lap number 14, and understandably all these guys fitting on a set of the soft tyres, as Cookie Games puts in the fastest lap. Well, he's right up to the back of this train. He's right behind Neo, and he almost went into the back of him. He just had to avoid him at the very last moment, but in these corners it'll be almost easy pickings for him. Whether he can get close enough to go for the move, that remains to be seen.
Neo's dragging onto the back of Rocco as well, and now Rocco was under pressure from Neo, but is about to kick off, maybe big time out on track. Neo right on the back of Rocco. Cookie Games is not even close enough to the back, and Neo is not going to get the move done, I don't think. M Short right up to the back of Justas as well. Kuhnblai leads the way, Justas in second, M Short in third, and if Justas now makes one mistake out on track, it's going to cost him big time, because M Short is pressurising him. M Short has now finally picked up the pace. Is it too late though for him to find that pace and to find him being in P1 by the end of this race? Who knows? A 3-second time penalty could throw it either way. Either the rain could entirely throw it. And Alp in the comment section, who of course is part of Sidemax Motorworks, he was saying, as Cookie Games and Neo thought they were going to run side by side in towards the Campos section, Alp saying it could be like a 2008 Belgium style Cookie Games going down the inside line. That is completely and utterly reckless. He gets the move done around the outside, but he should get that position back. I'm sorry. Cookie Games forced an impossible gap down the inner, and if he doesn't get that position up, he's going to be right in the steward's room by the end of this race, as Neo and Yildirim are side by side. Yildirim trying to go all the way around the outside through Blanchimon, manages it because Neo gets caught on the curb on the inside, and Yildirim is now through, and he's into 8th position, and Neo, all of a sudden, the soft runners really beginning to come into play, despite Cookie Games really forcing the issue on Neo. Montana saying, rain in 10 minutes.
Yeah, for an LOE veteran like Cookie Games, Yildirim going up the inside in towards turn number 1, and he's made that move stick off the exit of the corner. But I think for an LOE veteran like Cookie Games, that was a rookie error. He just went up the inside, a gap that was not going to close, and a gap that never really did exist. But M Short now, he is about 4/10 off the back of Justas in towards the Laycom complex of corners. He's not even sticking in the slipstream. I don't think he wants to go for this move early on, as Cookie Games fighting with Yildirim, and he left him pretty much no room there. I think Cookie Games get a little bit too angsty in this race on the set of the soft tyres as well, so I think he needs to rein it in a little bit.
He does need to rein it in a little bit, and to be honest, he's getting a bit desperate out on track. I think that's the right word to probably say. Cookie Games is getting desperate. He's on a quicker compounder tyre, but he's got to remain consistent with his one-to-one driving. Otherwise, he's going to end up in the steward's room, because that's twice now he has left somebody short of room. One trying to force the move into this corner here to the left-hander, and now he's on the back of Rocco, and I envisage that Cookie Games is going to go side by side coming through Blanchimon. And I really hope that is not the case. He hasn't got enough ERS to try and combat that, though. I don't think he's going to set him behind for now. But he's going to have to watch out for Yildirim, because Yildirim now, he's going to try and go maybe down into the bus stop chicane. Cookie Games closing up to Rocco. This could end disastrous, possibly. Cookie Games now on the back of Rocco. Is he going to look down the inside line? He lunges it down the inside line, and again forces the issue down on the inside line. Kublai, by the way, still staying out on track. Lap 16 out of 22. Kuka Games and Rocco side by side. We're taking on board with Yulbream. Kuka Games now pulls to the inside, dummies him to the inside line. Manages to get the move done. It's clean, but Rocco on the switchback gets the move done, and now Yulbream is going to go side by side, running down the hill and towards Aruj and Radion, and gets him. Yulbream now through, and he's into 7th. M. Shorten is looking again quite close on the back of Justas. Yulbream though, right on the back of Kuka Games, running up the hill. Rocco's going to have two wide pretty much up the hill here. Kuka Games and Yulbream, Rocco closing in. He's got a double slipstream. Neo trying to close in as well. Kuka Games remains in 6th. Yulbream couldn't try and move on the outside line, but now the race is beginning to get quite spicy.
Yeah, I think Yulbream played that very smartly there, given the fact that he just waited in behind on the back of Cookie Games. Fair play to Cookie Games for actually taking his opportunities in this one. He could do them in a little bit of a cleaner manner, but it is still good to see that these drivers are not scared to make bold risks. But Yulbream, he has probably played this a bit more methodically, and he's just hung in behind. He's letting Cookie Games do all the work, and staying on his fresh and soft tyres. He's not taking any life out of them, and also he's not really risking any penalties. So Yulbream, bit of a drive. Oh, Cookie Games almost moving the car on the exit of, I believe, the Campos section. Now that's actually pushed him right into the back of Yulbream, who might try and go for the move. Coming in towards Blanchimont, you can see he's got the run. Verstappen in behind as well on Neo. He's going for the move on the outside line as yellow flags.
Nathan.
I believe that might be, yes, Nathan around. Yulbream, though, in towards the bus stop chicane. Is he going to go for the move on Cookie Games to the outside line? We've seen this before from them both. Yeah, side by side, almost through. They're both apexes off the corners, off the exit, off the turn. He's made no mistake. They're coming wheel to wheel. There's contact between the pair of them. Cookie Games does not want to give this up to easily in towards La Source now for the 17th time in this Grand Prix. Cookie Games forcing his way back through. These two fighting so hard in this Grand Prix. Justas still holding this one in here. Don't tell me he's going to go for the move in towards. Oh no, he backed off at the very last moment, and I'm quite glad he did, to be honest, because that was complete screwed. He didn't want to make the move actually.
It's going to be 3 wide.
He made that move sick as well, and Rocco as well. He's going to pinch them.
Oh no! Yulbream! What on earth was he doing? Yulbream has moved across to pretty much sandwich Rocco and Kuka Games in, and Kuka Games is the spoilt party and all of that. That is an absolute terrible piece of driving from Yulbream. And now Rocco, I think he's got an illegal overtake because he pulled off to the left-hand side. I think he's got an illegal overtake on Kuka Games, and Kuka Games has spun, and he's retired out the race. All of that spawned from Yulbream moving across on Rocco's line. Rocco, I think, had a 5-second penalty maybe applied on with Kuka Games, obviously, with that illegal overtake. But with that return, I think it's gone, and it's ended up in absolute tragedy.
Yeah, but Rocco has got a bit of wing damage on the right side end plate, and that is 2 races pretty much ruined at this point. I believe we'll probably see a bit of a conversation down at the steward's office, and maybe even in the post-race. I might actually just check the Discord quickly, see if Cookie Games is fuming about that one, but it was really unfortunate that it did unfurl in that way. And just one thing to note, Kublai is still out on circuit. There he is pulling into the pit lane. Don't know why he stayed out so late. He's probably holding out for the rain, but I'd say he's probably close to puncture territory. That finally unleashes Justas back into the lead of the Grand Prix. Still got M. Short right in behind him. So do not call this one off. I don't think the rain will come in time for there to be intermediate running, but certainly if it does begin to fall, it will pose a challenge to these drivers.
It might be like what I said earlier on, and we saw it in qualifying, where obviously the guys were out on a set of soft compound tyre on dry running when the track was a little bit greasy, and I think that might be towards the end of the race. But Justas leading the way, M. Short in second. M. Short now, he's lost 0.8 of a second basically on the back of Justas, and he now needs to put the hammer down and pretty much put the final nail in the coffin if he wants to try and get onto the back of Justas here, with D. Daniel right close up in behind. Yulman out in front, but watch out for Yulbream. Yulbream has looked insanely quick. He has been probably the cleanest man out on track. Obviously with Kuka Games coming in with that incident, the clouds beginning to unfurl though over the track, and with 5 laps to go, 4.5 if you're being picky, Justas leads the way. M. Short second, D. Daniel in third. Anything can still happen here in Belgium. Watch out for Verstappen as well. Verstappen is on the same compound tyre as Yulbream. He's on the same strategy, and he's in clear air, and he's going to approach onto the back of Yulbream as soon as Yulbream gets held up by Yul Melmat, which is now Verstappen catches, and Verstappen might be the man to watch.
Yeah, I do think Gilbrim still can cause issues on circuit for these drivers in front of him, even though he might be getting a penalty, and it's already just got a lot more overcast than it did before. But Gilbrim, if he does get a penalty, which I personally do think he should, that is just completely me throwing that one out there. I think that was a bit of a silly move from him. I don't think it was intentional. I think he probably wanted to cover the gap, and it was just a little bit too late for him.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just caused all that issue. It was a bit of a domino effect. So, probably would say a penalty is coming his way, but he can still get positions on circuit and still cause mistakes from other drivers, so you can't count him out in this race. Nothing's guaranteed as well, so he's going to run his race and fight as hard as he wants.
Oh, here we go!
As he's right onto the back of Yul Melmat. 1.5 tenths is a gap between each other at the moment. What about him short up in front? He's not close enough to make a move stick, as no, they just cannot find a move, and this is the DRS train that coming into full effect. Gilbrim almost going into the. I think he did actually go into the back of Yul Melmat, almost caused him a spin there.
Yep, no damage for Gilbrim, but Justas leading the way. M-Shot was about as close as I've ever seen him on the run up through Rouge and Radion, but now he's got to save up that ERS once again. He's got to try and attack. He's relatively around the same ERS usage as Justas out on track. Justas, I think, is just 3% better off at this stage. Gilbrim right all over the back of Yul Melmat. This is going to be a mouthful to say in commentary. Yul Melmat and Gilbrim, 4th and 5th position. We saw them in Bahrain, of course, take that one-stop strategy right to the end of the race and finish 1st and 2nd. Is this now beginning to be like that out on track? They're in 4th and 5th. They've got to try and make that run down. Verstappen is catching as well. Yellow flag in Sector 2 is Nathan, who I think got caught up in incident with maybe vaporised on the exit of Lecombe, but Justas leads the way. M Short in 2nd. D Daniel for VRT now wants this, and he wants to try and attack M Short, and he's now going to look to the outside line, and M Short has got no response. He's very late on the brakes, though. M Short cuts the gap really much up on the inside line, and now this has thrown all spanners into the works. D Daniel now side by side with M Short coming across the line. Gilbrim through on Yul Melmat in the meantime as well. M Short fights down for 2nd position still. Justas leads the way. M Short in 2nd, but that gap, that one run that D Daniel had has really unsettled M Short, and suddenly he's 8.5 tenths away from Justas with 3 laps to go.
I can already hear the screams from Montana at the moment, because he's going to be rooting on this man in the Racing Point car. D Daniel down the straightaway, M Short with no answer, and I think Justas on to the right side. M Short still fighting this one around the outside. Atlee contact. D Daniel's been spun around, and I'm not too sure what really went on there. It was a terrible camera angle, and all we know is that D Daniel is around, and so unfortunate. But now M Short has lost DRS as well. Oh, he's just about to lose it to Justas. It could be all over here.
It could be all over, and I think it was, to be honest, M Short leaving him short of room on the outside line. They literally were inches apart, and they were too close. It's as simple as that. They were too close, and that's why the contact was made, and D Daniel will be fuming at this stage. M Short, I think, will be fuming as well for not leaving him enough room out on track. But Justas leads the way. M Short in 2nd. Justas now has the bird flown out on track. M Short has got to still put everything on the line. Regardless if he gets a steward's penalty or not by the end of this race, he has got to now put the pressure back on. He's derating, he's on 0% ERS. He is literally throwing everything at Justas, but Justas has got 27% of ERS, and that is probably enough to get outside of a 2nd to M Short. Penultimate lap of the race to go. The rain is still not falling out on track. It is very cloudy now, but Justas leads the way. M Short in 2nd, Gilbrim in 3rd. Gilbrim might well be the man to watch on these final 2 laps of the race, because honestly, Gilbrim now right on the back of M Short, and M Short still trying to close up to the back of Justas, but Justas is now going to try and respond. The Lithuanian, the former NSX man, against the XL man of M Short with NSX. Gilbrim, the newcomer to the team, right on the back where he's also derating down the straight, and he can't catch M Short down the straight, and M Short's derating as well. They've both got 0% of ERS. This is surely the win may be in Justas' favour.
I just cannot predict what is going to happen at the moment. Vaporizer taking the fastest lap here at the moment, but I think M Short, he's seeing his championship slipping away, and he can't really respond in any way. He's just 6/10 off of taking this fight to the final round of the championship. Yildirim still in this bout as well, as he could try and cause some issues for him short, taking second position through Blanchimont. I think if he does go for the move at some point, even just on this lap, that will be all over. I don't think M Short will have anything left to attack Justas, who just got one more lap, 1 and a bit tours left of this Grand Prix. Here comes Yildirim on the back of M Short for second position. 1.5 tenths is the gap between the pair of them. You can see his blinking red fuel lights, and now he's almost out of ERS. He's completely out of ERS. He's going to go to the outside line, maybe switching it to the inside. M Short defending very hard. Oh my god! Yildirim up the inside, and he's trying to force this move right down as M Short. No, he's lost the position, and that surely is the final straw that broke the camel's back, the final nail in the coffin, as here comes Verstappen up the inside. M Short just trying to clamour everything back here, but it is all in vain. Surely Montana will be winning the championship, as Justas will be taking the race win.
He has to. M Short onto the final lap race. You can see the red light blinking. He's got 0% of ERS running up the hill, and he's now going to be under pressure from Verstappen. That is pretty much it. Bust up chicane, penultimate lap of the race, the defining moment in Liga Europe Division 1 this season. M Short tried to go down the inside line, didn't. Alphatrix, by the way, is making a move on Neo. He's up into 7th position. There's so much going on further down the field. Kumbly and Fleddy making up positions as well further down the field. But Justas has the bird flown out on track. He has taken this so easily. I think Justas, honestly, he's backing up the pack. Or is he saving fuel? I think he must be fuel saving. Look at the red light now flashing. He's got less than a litre of fuel left on that car. Yildirim is also the same. M Short might still have a chance if these guys run out of fuel. First and second are both derating. You can see Justas now leading the way. Yildirim in second. M Short in third. M Short has still got one final chance, but he has got to save up the CRS and he's got to try and fly. I think it's too much in vain, but Justas leading around Stavolo for the final time. No rain in this race at all. Yildirim is going to try and come at Justas now with literally the last embers of this race to go. Justas now coming through Blanchimont. He is on his way to possibly the biggest race victory in Liga Europe so far this season. Justas around the final corner. There's a random yellow flag came out. Justas ran the final corner, coming across the line, and Justas will win as Yildirim is out of fuel. Yildirim is out of fuel across the line. He finishes 5th, and M Short 2nd. But Justas has won, and M Short is 2nd, and that is enough to crown NSX Montana a 3-time League of Europe champion here in Division 1.
And that was what the yellow flags were for Yildirim, running out of fuel on the line pretty much out the final corner, and the rain characteristically has just started to fall as the race has literally just finished. But Montana is your Season 5 League of Europe Division 1 champion. Here's just a list of the names that he has beaten to the championship in this season. M Short, Verstappen, Daniel, Justas, Zhao as well. They've all been toppled by Montana in his 3rd championship win in League of Europe. He's not racing here tonight, but I think we still have just got to give him all the credit in the world for this championship win. He's taken 6 wins so far this season, and he might not even need to pick up a final one in Brazil. Championship goes back the way of Montana.
And Nathan, I thought, was going to crash into the wall there coming across the line as he finishes in 16th position. But a fantastic end to this race. Driver of the day, awarded by the in-game fans. Verstappen came right under the radar to finish 3rd, right at the end of the race. But a fantastic, fantastic win from Justas, an ex-NSX driver winning the race here from what could have been Yildirim in 2nd. It could have been an NSX really 1-2, but Justas wins. His first race outside of NSX is a winning one, and now he can carry forward that momentum to the rest of the season. Of course, Brazil, final round of the championship to come next week. But Justas as your race winner in Belgium. M Short, tried as he might, valiant in defeat. But the man, the myth, the legend Montana has won the championship, and here is your final grid order from tonight in Belgium. Justas on top, from M. Short in second, Verstappen 16th on the grid. The best of the guys that run on the set of mediums finishing in third. Yulmamat in fourth, Yulbream in fifth, running out of fuel, so unlucky. Neo in sixth, Campbell seventh, Alpha Trix in eighth. That early spin, he's only finished 7.5 seconds off the race winner in the end. D. Daniel in ninth, Kumblai in 10th, Fleddy on his debut in 11th, good performance from him. Wuta in 12th, Rocco 13th, Vaporizer 14th with the fastest lap, Hardy in 15th, Nathan across the line in 16th with 18 seconds worth of penalties. Kuki Games Zhao Zhao, a rare DNF for Zhao Zhao, down in 18th, and Chapelelli down in 19th position, of course, spinning the car through P1. Justas the wins, M. Short in second, Verstappen in third. Oh, and if that wasn't the most dramatic race of the season, I don't know what is.
Yeah, and I'm just looking in the Discord. There's a lot of insults being thrown the way of each other. There's 3 messages in a row, all within the same minute. At NSX Yulbream, are you okay, mate, from Rocco? Cookie has called him something I can't say on stream. And then I'm sure, I think this is probably it's not the nicest one. You fit right in with NSX. And Montana has gone, you dropped this. And it's a picture of a man holding an L. So I think I'm going to be brutally honest. I'm really happy that Montana is a 3rd-time League of Europe champion, but I'm disappointed with the drivers in this race. How they've performed, there's just been too many issues. It needs to be ironed out for the final race of the season. I get that this is the end of the F1 2020 cycle, but if they're performing like this, they're going to be hurting the reputation of the league. So, yeah. I don't think it is. I don't think it's right.
Yeah, and to echo that as well, Division 1 has hardly had any stewards reports this season. We've probably been the least amounts of all of the 5 divisions here, and LOE PC as well. And I am sure that the drivers will conduct themselves in a much better way as what they're showing in the Discord at this stage. Because frankly, what they're showing in the Discord really is a little bit of self-consciousness, if I've got to be honest. They're only trying to get over each other because they basically were involved in incidents. You're involved in incidents for one reason. You were not clean, out on track. Driving standards were, well, not as bad as what I was actually hoping for, but still, not well below the standard of Division 1. And if you can call ourselves Division 1 based off this race, then it remains really to be seen. But congratulations, of course, we can't take it away from NSX Montana, a 3-time League of Europe Division 1 champion. A fantastic drive, even if he didn't even turn up here tonight. And a fantastic driver in his own credit. And he has defended pretty much his life. Remember, first race of the season, he wasn't even in the points, I don't think. I think he was like 12th in the first race of the season, and he was well behind, nearly the third of the way through the season. And just to combat that, how on earth, the characteristics of Montana, how on earth has he actually won this championship, given that he was so far behind at the start of the season?
Yeah, he didn't even win until Monaco. He got a podium in Canada, but it was a really slow start to the season for Montana. In the first 2 races, when M. Short had finished, I think, 4th and a win, Montana had only netted 10 points at that time. So it was, 37 points for M. Short, only 10 for Montana. And he's managed to come back and take the win, not even racing in this race, and he still wrapped up the championship. So I think Montana, he just really had one of those seasons where he ran away with it. And you really do have to contribute that also to his run mid-season. From France to Spain, 3 wins in 4 races and a 2nd place in Japan. It was just crazy how he has performed this season, but I don't think we could take anything away from M. Short this season. He has still performed so well. This is his first full season in Division 1 here as well, and he picked up 3 wins and 2 2nd places and a 3rd position. Sorry, it's actually 3 2nd places, so he's done really well this season. Both of these guys, they are very... I think both of them, they can be proud of their seasons.
Yeah, M. Short, valiant in defeat tonight. He literally could not give anything more. out on track, and I think it's a characteristic of himself. He drove a really great race. Yeah, he left short of room, and yeah, he could have drove cleaner out on track, but that's just part and parcel of racing at the end of the day. And hopefully you guys enjoyed it as the viewers, because honestly, this was probably one of the uncleanest races of the season, if I've really got to be honest, and it dropped below the standards of what we expect here in Division 1. But we cannot take the credit away from Montana. We cannot take the credit away from Justas and M. Short, who put up such a valiant fight to finish first and second in the end of this race. And to Verstappen, who finished third, the underdog really here tonight as well. Fantastic to see. We've got one more round to come for you, of course, in Brazil. If you are honestly wanting more action, and hopefully if you're wanting better driving standards as well, then tune in, of course, to LOE Division 2 and Division 5. It is going to be Commentalist taking you through Division 2, and Division 5 is also going to be taken you through by XL Tin Can. I'm not sure if there's any reserve commentators based on that, but hopefully we are going to be seeing you in just a second. 8:10, I think they start in Belgium. But hopefully the drivers will conduct themselves better going into next week, and hopefully the driving standards will be better as well. And I think we'll probably end it there before Division 2 starts. So thank you so much for watching here in Division 1 of League of Europe. We really hope you have enjoyed the action. We really hope you've enjoyed this season as well. One more race still to go in Brazil, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.